We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. Love that makes you know he can't fucking breathe. Love that makes you know we are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. OBS decided it wanted to play games today. That's funny. One moment, we will be right back. Should be coming back here any second. There we go. Fuck's sake. If it's Friday, we're doing a damn thing one way or another. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where technical gremlins will not leave us the fuck alone. But we're here anyways, god damn it. Today, as like most nights, I have got a cohort here with me to break down all the shit talking and the shenanigans, the fight announcements, and fuckery that has come down the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. Before we get into all the fun and fuckery, though, first and foremost, how you doing over there, brother?
Doing pretty fucking good. Looking forward to those fights tomorrow, man. In the hometown,
Okay.
Kansas City.
Hell
We know
yes.
how to
Hell
party
yes.
for fight night.
Hell yes, and a decent one at that. So, not a bad hangover card, but we'll get into a little more of that as we get into a little more of the show itself. First and foremost, though, we are going to kick things off with a little bit of news and recent events, the way we like to do fight confirmations, fight cancellations, things that have trickled down the pipeline of news from the MMA world since we saw you wonderful folks last. Um, we've got a couple of very interesting ones here. We do have to tie back a little bit to 314 from 2 weeks ago here because we did get some pretty interesting news coming out of that. First and foremost, Amanda Nunes was very graciously and well deservedly inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in the fighter wing. Very fucking cool. She got emotional. You could see they caught her off guard with it. Well fucking deserved. So congrats to her for that, for damn sure. The other side of that was that while talking about Amanda being inducted into the Hall of Fame and the fight between Juliana and Kayla coming up, Amanda Nunes did confirm herself she is, in fact, going to come back to fight the winner of that match and take her belt back. She needed a little bit of time off. The time off seems to have done her very well, and she seems ready as ever to come back. And I, for one, am fucking here for it. Um, Kind of a smattering of announcements here in terms of fights themselves here. Coming up in terms of something we'll talk a little bit more about later this evening, the weigh-ins today were all over the place because there are a whole bunch of fights that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. One of them, the boxing match coming up tomorrow between Chris Eubanks Jr. and Connor Benn, is making headlines aside from everything else leading up to this match because their weigh-ins were today. Chris Eubanks Jr. stepped on the scale originally weighing zero point 0.2 pounds over. He went back, recut, came back and weighed in again at 0.05 pounds over. And that 0.05 of a pound is going to cost him $500,000. There is also a weight and hydration clause stuck on top of that, so he can't even stay that big. He can't even, rehydrate normally like he would. He essentially has to stay pretty much where he is because of the clause on how much he can weigh when the fight actually happens tomorrow as well. So that whole boxing situation is insane unto itself over there. One quick little piece here concerning this weekend, and then we'll move on to some other fight announcements. Kind of a good news, bad news situation here. The bad news, let me see if I can pronounce this right. Ahmad Hassazanda, I believe is how they pronounce his name, is officially out of his fight this weekend against Evan Elder. He has been arrested for sexual assault on a minor, amongst a various slew of other charges, and is currently being held on almost a $500,000 bond. So, yeah, he is out. The good news side of that is that another Missouri boy got to step in on short notice. Gage Young will instead be stepping in tomorrow to take on Evan Elder in Kansas City. So we've got another Missouri boy back on the card with the outing of an alleged scumbag. We will obviously still have to wait and see how those charges unfold. But as of now, the card has been improved, in my opinion. A couple of announcements going forward here. Uh, Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales was originally going to be in Montreal, has now been moved to the Vegas 106 main event. That is very fucking cool. May 17th. Added to that card as well is Julian Erosa versus Julian Erosa versus Makaziel Costa. Looking at the wrong line, sorry. Juicy J versus the Dalmatian, as well as Sadiq Youssef versus Marion Santos as well, all taking place on that Vegas 106 card May 17th. A good trio of fights there, in my opinion. Excuse me. Week prior to that, UFC 315 up in Montreal. Gavin Tucker stepping in to take on Ji Yong Kim. Or excuse me, Ji Yong Lee. God damn it, I'm looking at too many lines here. Sorry. Ji Yong Lee versus Gavin Tucker. Sorry about that. May 31st, UFC Vegas 107. Mateus Gamrot stepping back into the cage to take on Ludovic Klein in a very interesting fight, in my opinion, here. Talked about this a little bit in the pre-show stuff. UFC 315 also had an interesting addition to it this week. We found out that George St. Pierre will be in Ayman Zahabi's corner with Faraz to corner him against Jose Aldo in Montreal. Kind of an interesting turn there, but we'll see how that one plays out. June 7th, UFC 316 over in New Jersey. Moved from the Des Moines card up to New Jersey will now be Chito Vera versus Mario Batista in Jersey. Interesting go on that one. The other interesting fight added to the New Jersey card, UFC 316, June 7th from Newark, Kevin Holland versus Vicente Luque. Did not see that fight coming. That was not on my radar in any way, shape, or form, but should be a good matchup as well. Excuse me. The following week, June 14th, will be UFC Atlanta. Just this afternoon, got a very big fight added to it. Kamaru Usman versus, Joaquin Buckley. This is a fight that a lot of people have been calling for quite a while now. Definitely a fight I feel needs to happen. Could say a lot about either one of those dudes, depending on how that one comes out. The following week after that, June 21st, will be UFC Baku from Azerbaijan. The new main event, we talked about it a little bit last week, or 2 weeks ago rather. The UFC Kansas City original scheduled headliner, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, is not going to headline tomorrow. Obviously, we talked about that. It will, however, be headlining the Baku card now, June 21st. So we have Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree main eventing that card. That will also be the debut of Kyoji Horiguchi making his return to the UFC, taking on Tagir Ulanbekov. Words. 1 second. Ugh. Fuck's sake. So, that being said, last fight announcement here. Just came down this afternoon. Officially, UFC 318 will be taking place July 19th from New Orleans, Louisiana, and it will be the retirement fight of one Dustin the Diamond Poirier taking on Max Blessed Holloway for the BMF belt in their trilogy matchup in the main event. This is one that they've been trying to put together for quite a while here. Still not quite sure how I feel about that fight as a whole. We talked a little bit about that in the pre-show here, but we'll see how I feel about it as we get a little closer to that. Two more little pieces of news to run out here real quick before we get out of there. If you haven't seen it yet, Carlos Prates got a message from a man that lives in Kansas City on Tuesday, basically telling him that he'd been diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer, and the chemo and the radiation are kicking his ass, and he's losing his hair, and he would like to know if Carlos would shave his head for him. Well, Carlos flew into Kansas City on Tuesday. Not only did he answer the man's message, the entire Fighting Nerds crew brought him in. They shaved his head. They gave him a Fighting Nerds jacket. They gave him a set of glasses. They've brought him to the weigh-ins. They're going to bring him to the fights. And as long as he's got the energy, Carlos and the nerds are going to take him and his friends out to celebrate after the fight one way or another. Carlos protests and the fighting nerds are fucking spectacular, in my opinion. This is a fucking awesome story to see, and you can see exactly how much it meant to the guy as well. Unfortunately, the last one I've got today is a somber one as well here. We got word this week that Marvin Vittori's younger brother, at the age of 29 years old, was lost when their home caught on fire this last weekend. Obviously, our thoughts go out to Vittori and his family. That is fucking way too young, and that is a horrible fucking circumstance to lose a loved one in. There's obviously never a good one, but this is a particularly rough one. So obviously, he might not be your favorite fighter, but now is the time to reach out and give a fucking word of condolence to Marvin Vittori, in my opinion. It ain't fun, but that's what I got for news over here. You got anything over there I might have missed this week?
Up until that point, that was the only thing I was going to say if you didn't say it yourself. Even though it's
Yeah.
always shitty to end on a shitty note, Marvin Vittori is one of my favorite fighters, and because he's one of the only Italian fighters in all of mixed martial arts, I can't root for Danny Sabatello, man.
No,
So,
nobody can.
prayers
No,
out to Marvin and his family. Like, in all seriousness, we know a lot of fighters deal with horrible tragedies in their lives by getting in the octagon and shit. I hope we don't see Marvin for a minute. As much as I
I
love
agree.
him, I
I
hope he
agree.
takes
I
a
think he needs
minute.
some time right now.
As much as I know, if he does get back in that octagon anywhere near the near future, that's going to be the fuel. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to be a dude getting on the
I
other
don't want to
side
stand
of him,
across
even
from
though
that.
Vittori
Yeah.
normally is not the guy that goes and gets finishes or beats people's ass. I wouldn't want to
Right.
be fighting him this next time.
Yeah. That's extra fuel that you don't want to be the fucking recipient of for sure.
So, as a
Yeah,
fight
no.
fan, I'm looking forward to seeing his next fight because he's going to make it all for his brother. But it is
Yeah.
one of the, like, that week off that we had was good. It was needed. These are some good fights. We're coming back. That was some shitty fucking news to get on the
That
off
was
week.
rough to see. Yeah, for
I
sure.
when I saw that at work last week, that was a literal kick in the balls, man. That was just,
Yeah.
especially when it's one of your favorite fighters. You hear something horrible like that happens to him.
Right.
So prayers out to him. I'm glad you mentioned it, yeah, even if
Yeah,
it's
I
a
know.
rough way to end the news segment. I know you guys
Yeah.
definitely ain't fans of his, but you always give the love and credit out to fucking fighters, even if they are shit.
Yeah, no, he's not my favorite fighter by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm a human being and so is he, and
Yep.
I wouldn't wish this fucking tragedy on anybody. And I don't care if I like the way you fight or not. I I can't help but fucking sympathize with Martin Vittori. So obviously our fucking thoughts go out to the Vittori family right now. But that being said, that is all I have got for news this week. So that will bring us to the point where if you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have been watching combat sports, you tend to learn what you like to watch and when it comes on and how to watch it. And after so long, you start to develop a set of metaphorical blinders, if you will, and you lose a bit of the punchy-kicky forest for the trees. Luckily for us here on the show, we've got ourselves a bona fide young kid who's out there vigilantly and diligently fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they are names in a little segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. So I know I fucking missed a couple weeks ago on the pay-per-view pod. That pissed me off, man. The passing out sometimes does me in. Uh, I'm real bad about it too. I'm a lot fucking younger, and I'm always fucking passing out like I'm an old man. It pisses me off. But I'm here this week, and I got some fun shit to talk about. There's definitely quite a bit of trash though, and I always start with the fuck. We call it cans and contenders for a reason. You start with the trash because you always save the best for last. So man, that Chelsea Chandler and Jocelyn Edwards fight. As much as I do think Jocelyn Edwards has a decent set of cheeks on her, and that's fun to look at during her fight, she's not a good fighter. She's been in Kansas City a couple times too. She was at the fucking fights a couple years ago, and we went to the fights together. And wound up seeing her walking around and all that shit. Did not try to introduce myself. I did not. It was not one of the fighters I wanted to get a picture from. I remember we also saw Tim Elliott and fucking. I think Kevin Crew. Me and Vinny saw him when we were trying to get on home. It was a fun time. Uh, this is not going to be a fun fight though. These two bitches are probably just going to be clinching, hugging one another up against the fence. I think Jocelyn is going to be the one to try to actually hit the other one. So I'm leaning towards Jocelyn Edwards getting a win. I do think she is actually the better like fighter or mixed martial artist. Chelsea Chandler is to me she reminds me of Fiona when she turns into the other. And she just gets angry and she's just coming after you, trying, hug you and hold you down on the ground. Not to be mean, but she just seems like a really big, ugly, fat, ogre-looking chick, and she loves to just hold chicks up against the fence and on the ground. It's going to be a horrible fight, and neither one of them are going anywhere. The bantamweight division in general is just so dead. It's so horrible. That's why all of us got so fucking excited when Amanda Nunes said she's going to come back. There's no point. She doesn't really need to, but it'd be nice to actually get something fun, especially in that division on the ladies' side of things. And that's the only way we can have some fun right now. It's such a dead division, in all honesty. Um, as much as I don't want to say it, Anthony Smith, man. I mean, it is his retirement fight, though, so I'll be nice. Like Anthony's, he's been at the end of his career for a minute. And the biggest reason I still got to throw him in the end there, I'm just honest with it. As much as my heart wants to see it as a fight fan, like he's close to home. Kansas City, he's always looked at as like a second home. He gets season tickets almost every year. He's always coming to Chiefs games. He likes Kansas City to a point. He definitely talks about, I've heard him talk about on this podcast multiple times. He's always got a strap on him when he's in Kansas City. He knows the kind of place it is, but he likes the Chiefs. He supports the city, man. So this is kind of a cool place for him to retire. It'd be awesome. He's still the vet. He's got that great jiu-jitsu. He's fighting a young kid that's never really gotten out of the first round, even in his losses. So if he can work through the first 5 minutes, he's probably winning the fight. Or if he can get the kid down to the ground, he's probably winning the fight. So in all honesty, Anthony Smith, in my eyes, is a decent underdog to take this weekend. He's real, he's a vet. He's got the experience. Knowing it's his last fight, he's going to go out there and give it his all. But we've also seen it's MMA, man. This is not a sport where guys get that great finish. That's why Cub Swanson's been talking about. In all honesty, he's probably thinking retirement unless the UFC gives him something really fucking fun that really interests him, because he just had an amazing fucking moment, a hell of a knockout in his last fight. That's the way you want to go out, because this sport eats dudes up most of the time. Like we saw with Frankie Edgar, we've seen with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, we see with most of them. Molly McCann just this year. Most of the MMA fighters, as they get on in years, they just get the shit kicked out of them, or they get knocked the fuck out. They get totally embarrassed in one way or another. And then they realize, shit, I can't do this anymore. And as a fan, especially if you're a fan of them as the fighter, it's soul crushing for us just as much as it is for them. But obviously, nowhere near as bad. It's just that we hate those moments. It's not what we want to see this weekend, especially towards the end of the card. This is going to be a fun fucking card. It's in our hometown, man. I totally want to see Anthony do it. That'd be the badass way to do it. We know it's retirement. Right, fucking just beat the young kid, whether he's got to grind it out or he gets the submission. Be able to ride out on the fucking sunset, have an awesome fucking moment with Paul Felder on the microphone. I'm hoping. but I got to throw him in the trash because, in all honesty, he's been on a real rough streak lately, and he's lost the speed, he's lost his ability to defend himself the same way that Anthony used to be able to. Just because he's tough as shit and he's still a dog can only get him so far. And he is fighting a kid that does have a hell of a lot of power in those fucking mitts. So it's rough to see this going good. We know the story. It's just the thing. I'm 29 at this point. I'm getting close to being 30. I've been watching fights for over 20 years at this point because ever since I was a little kid watching with my dad, man. So I got some time on me at this point, even though I'm still the youngin'. Not a casual, and I know how this shit goes. We all, especially with our loved ones, the fucking ones that we love to shit. And Anthony's always been one of my favorite fighters. I don't think it's going well this weekend, but I can hope and pray. The MMA gods are not kind to us, though. Pollyanna Viana, man, I throw that shit in the trash. I think she's getting absolutely worked. Before we actually started live here, Meter was pulling up some betting odds since our brother TJ is not able to be with us tonight. He will be running through some of those betting odds, and the biggest betting odd difference is that fight between Viana and Jacqueline Amorim, and there's a reason for it because Pollyanna Viana, she's not one of the worst looking ladies in the UFC, but she's not a good fighter. She's not. She's not very good. She doesn't even have a lot of strong suits, in my opinion. She's been in the UFC for a good minute. I mean, she does have some finishes in her career, but not a lot of them have come in the UFC. In all honesty, uh, just that losing record at this point, the 10 fights, but 4-6 in the UFC is just not a good look. And I honestly feel like the young lady Jacqueline Amorim is going to run right through her. So the betting odds, in my opinion, are correct on that one. Uh, Chris Gutierrez and the John Castaneda fight. I gotta throw this one in the trash too. Chris Gutierrez just had his chance the other year to crack into the rankings. I still don't understand why the USC gave him that opportunity because I mean it was proven what he is. He's just a middle of the pack guy. Like he can have some decent fights here and there, but he's one of those guys similar to what I think we're going to continue to get out of Mario Batista, a guy that could be really good, but they are like way too tentative when they get in the octagon. Whether it's like the lights are too big for them or they don't want to hurt the guy that they're fighting. Like just in the instance of Gutierrez, like he had to fucking knock out Frankie Edgar, and then it was like that moment of hurting the legend or whatever, and then how fans started to hate him. It's like it got in his head, and then the last couple fights he's had since then, he's not really even trying to fight. And I think that's kind of similar with Mario Batista. We've seen him have some decent moments, but then lately he's just been kind of trying to win compared to trying to fight. We hate seeing that. And I feel like Castaneda is literally only able to win this fight against Gutierrez if he makes this a boring grind of a fight where he's just like trying to get in the clinch and trying to control situation. Like he's not a good fighter in his own right. He's not gonna get a finish in any way, shape, or form. He's not shown any knockout power the way we have seen Gutierrez get some finishes. I don't think that fight's gonna be anything worth watching. In all honesty, I did. I changed my mind on this as the week. Maybe you'll agree with me on it. Maybe you will have this in your cans like I originally put it. I had put the Jimmy Flick Matt Schnell in the fucking can first this week, but it's like In all honesty, this is gonna be one of the fun fucking fights on this card. I just rethought it through this week. It's like both of them have retired already, and then they've come back, and both of them have been middle of the pack their whole fucking career. But they're fun as hell. Like flyweights are normally always fun, but out of those two, like they're just dogs. That's all they are. Like, they're not really great at anything, but they're fucking dogs. They're just gonna go out there and they're just gonna literally throw it down. They're gonna try to beat the shit out of each other, and I'm here to see that. And so I had thrown them in the trash because in reality they retired. They even knew it themselves. They don't really deserve to be in the UFC, if we're being honest. But like we don't have a lot of flyweights either, and these dudes can make it fun. Like oh fuck, what was it? It was Matt Schnell, right? Just the other year, his fight against Sumadarji. Like that fight was so fucking good. Neither one of them are good fighters at all, but that fight itself was just so fucking good. That's what we want in fights. Those just bloody fucking bar brawls. Like those are great. Like I mean, yeah, you want to see some technical shit every now and again. You want to see some guys that really master one thing or another. Sometimes slick finishes, but god damn it, those are some of the best moments. Like those are the legend fights. So I had thrown it in the trash, but maybe it's contender. Maybe I'll bump it up because it's got that ability to be a really fun ass fight. Neither one of them are going anywhere. They're not going to be contender worth a shit. I don't even think they'll be around much longer after this. But fun, fun fight. Really fucking fun fight here this weekend. Nick Dalby, got to throw him in the can. 40 years old, and I mean, he went on a little winning streak there, but in all honesty, those wins were just grindy. Like, he's tough. He's a tough dude. We give him his credit. He's not, again, another guy. He's not like really good in any one particular area. He's decent with wrestling. Like, he's got an okay ground game, but he just grinds through guys. I think the best thing, he's kind of got like the gas tank. He's similar to a Marab, nowhere near Marab, but that's his strong suit. He just wears guys out. He's 40 years old though here, and then Randy Brown having the height, the reach. I think he's just going to be able to keep the range if Randy plays it smart. We've seen like he had that nice winning streak himself, and Randy's just been in a lot of split decisions, close fights too. He's got a lot of potential, I think, even still, but the kid just doesn't really go all out. He's another one of those, I think, tentative guys for one reason or another, and he allows himself to get into fucking close fights that he just shouldn't be in. He should have won that fight against Brian Battle. Like he got robbed, in my opinion, anyways. But he should have easily finished that fight. Even though I like Brian, and he was on a winning streak himself, but then his dumbass missed weight, and then he was clearly mismatched. But Randy always lets guys stick around, even though he's clearly better than him. So I could see that fight just as a whole not being the greatest. Even though I think Randy's going to win, he's always somewhat of a disappointment. Nick Dalby's towards retirement at this point, 40 years old. Throw him in the can. You got the Michelle Pereira and Abus Magomedov fight. It's the last thing I'll throw in the can here. I just, like you guys, I don't like Pereira's shtick. I could do without the stripping and the dancing on his way to the octagon every fight, and I could do without like I don't think it was last year. It might have been 23, but I can't remember which fight it was. But recently he had that fight where he tried to fucking backflip when dude was on the ground, and he almost kicked the guy in the fucking face. So it would have been a disqualification and in the fight because he's fucking kicking a guy in the head while he's grounded. The dude just is constantly doing ridiculous, dumb shit and taking risks that are absolutely unneeded and unnecessary. is another one of those guys that you have potential in multiple areas. You could be getting submissions, you could be getting knockouts, but you fuck around constantly. Uh, I just don't think the fight as a whole will be the greatest. Maybe we do get a finish here, but Abus Magomedov has shown us he doesn't have much of a gas tank, and he not very well rounded. He's got that maybe potential knockout power, but we haven't seen it a ton in the UFC. So we'll see how that fight goes, but I don't think it's going to be anything great. You got Cameron Saman in the contender spot for me this weekend. The kid still really young and he's shown a lot of fucking potential. I still really fucking like the kid, but he's had a couple of tough losses here as of late. I mean, against decent competition, Christian Rodriguez, Peyton Talbot, nothing to like bat an eye at, but he needs a bounce back win, and it's going to be tough for him this weekend, taking on the young kid Malcolm Well, not fully young, 30 years old, but I do like Malcolm Wellmaker, undefeated. Yeah, I do feel like he's kind of a prospect here. Uh, I leaning towards Wellmaker getting this win, but Cameron is a good fighter. I feel like he's still really talented. He's just really young. He's been kind of green, 24 years old still. Um, so he's on the fence. He takes another loss. That'll be 3 in a row, and we know how the UFC will go with that. He's not going to get too many more opportunities when you start throwing that kind of losing streak together. I am also throwing this out here. Some people might disagree. I don't know if you or TJ would disagree with me on this one, but I'm putting Ian Gary on the contender spot this weekend too. Because I think he's about to get his ass knocked the fuck out. And he's talking way too much fucking shit. When your ass can't fucking cash in, you shouldn't be fucking running your mouth sometimes. And that was the one thing that I really liked that Carlos Prates fucking put out this week. He talked very little shit going into this fight. But the one thing that he said is Ian Gary's going all over all these fucking podcasts and doing all these interviews, and I'm in the fucking gym. He's running this fucking man. It's just the truth. Ian Gary's ego has been hurt. Sean Strickland fucked him up the other year, calling his ass a cuck. And then the fans started to hate him and going along with the shit and calling him a cuck too. Or you got Buckley fucking tweeting it out earlier this week, fucking talking about let's get Buck versus don't fucking lose, don't get knocked out. We got to keep Buck versus cuck. Like everybody's fucking with the kid constantly. It's mainly because like Patty, he came into the UFC in his debut talking the biggest amounts of shit. He wasn't getting finishes. He wasn't knocking people out. He had I think it was his second fight or something like that against Kanan Song, and he got clipped. He almost lost that fucking fight just because he came back and won and didn't finish the fight. The only finish he's had is the lucky head kick against Daniel Rodriguez, fat Nate Diaz. Like, let's be honest here. Like, Nate Diaz, we loved him, but he wasn't a great fighter. That's how I look at Daniel Rodriguez. Like, he's just a fat version of Nate Diaz. The dude's a tough guy, but he's not a good fighter worth a damn. Ian Gary, really hasn't done shit. Fucking Carlos putting that out there, too. He hasn't had a main event yet. He's only got the one finish and the one bonus. Ever since Carlos has come in, he's knocking dudes out. Fucking Ian Gary fought Neil Magny, took him to decision. Carlos knocked him the fuck out. And knocked out Leach. That to me means something as well. Like when you stack their resumes up against each other, yes, it was impressive that Ian Gary fucking took Shavkat to the distance, but at the end of the day, we know Shavkat was hurt in that fight. Like going into that fight, his knee was fucked up, and then Gary tries to take credit for fucking his knee up. It's just, and the biggest thing, saying you're the best striker in the world and you don't strike. His last few fights, he's literally refusing to strike. All he's doing is trying to grapple, hold guys up against the fence, get in the clinch. He's trying his damnedest to not be in a fight, and also tried to say Carlos is not a fighter and he's a quitter and all this shit. You just run his mouth so much. I know all of us hope that he gets knocked out. Even the UFC hopes he does, in my opinion. They gave Carlos this gift to try to jump up in the rankings. They're literally posting Carlos all over their page all week. Not a single thing about Ian. Like the Royals game and the fucking first pitch and everything. Not to mention what Meter brought up in the news segment. The kid that Carlos went to see, shaved the head of, brought on stage. UFC's been showing all this stuff. Carlos is being made a fucking superstar. I also saw the fucking hilarious video that him and the Fighting Nerds did this week. They like made their own little ad for Cheetos. They were not actually being sponsored, or it wasn't a real ad for Cheetos. They just fucking love Cheetos so much. They're just fucking hilarious fucking dudes. And like, this is our fuel. Like, this is what this is what helps us cut weight. This is what we use to fucking get ready for the fight. I love them. I So Gary's on the fence, dude. Because if he loses this fight, what's left for him? He's talked all the shit that he's talked. He's been another one of those guys similar to Evloev. You've only won by decision like every fight you've had in the UFC so far, and you lose this one to the number 13.
I tell you what's left for him. He loses this one. Colby. That's what's next. He loses this one. He has to fight
That's
Colby.
the best
There's
thing.
no two ways about it.
That's the best thing, anyways. But in reality, like that, yeah, that's the only fun fight the kid gets left. But that's not a good bounce back either. If he beats Colby, even if he knocks Colby out, none of us are going to then like Ian Gary. None of us are going to respect him. It doesn't deserve him another like top 10 fight because Colby doesn't deserve to be ranked at this point. Like in reality, he was never a champion. The dude never deserved all the shots that he got at the belt. He's just such a shit talker. That's the situation. Like I've been saying, like you mentioned, for like the past year and a half now on my podcast. I've been shouting it to the rooftop that it's the match to make for his motherfucking edges because we all hate him so much. That's the only way I'll root for him. But I'm still gonna hate him after the fact because you just don't stop talking shit. It's like Conor McGregor. I got sick and tired of that a long time ago. We all did. That's why Conor fell off, especially when he started losing. That was literally the only fucking reason we ever liked Conor at the start. The things that he was doing when he was talking shit when he got into the UFC. He was backing it up. That's the only thing that's kind of been saving Ilya Toporia's ass. But at the same time, I still fucking hate that kid. And it's also because you're knocking out all my legends that I grew up on. So fuck you, kid. Like I don't fucking like it. And as much as I'd like to see him get Islam, just because I know he's going to get his ass beat by Islam, I love that they haven't given it to him yet. It seems like the UFC is kind of respecting him and Habib's wishes, and Islam being like, nah, I don't fucking need to be fighting another featherweight. I don't care that this kid did what he did. Like, he needs to fight at lightweight at least before he fucking comes at me. But, yeah, Ian Gary on the fucking fence. He can literally just completely fuck his career by losing this fight this weekend. So then the vice versa is Carlos Pratas is literally one of the biggest contenders. You could throw that fight as a whole in the contender spot because if Ian Gary does win, he's still in that like top 10 fucking range because he did have, I guess, a competitive fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov that was injured and things of this nature. He'd probably get something more like a Sean Brady. That'd be a perfect fight if he does win this fight this weekend. But yeah, I don't see Ian Gary actually becoming a champion like he keeps boasting and talking about. And I also feel like this fight could be the contender as a whole too. As much as Carlos is the contender for me, like Ian Gary's going to make this fight boring. If Carlos, but that's where I'm not worried about it because of who Carlos trains with. The guy, all those guys have shown us they're all so good and so well rounded. Even we haven't seen a lot of like Carlos's ground game because people haven't been able to like take him down. He's fought dudes like Neil Magny who are very good at taking people down and have a very good ground game, and he fucking knocked him the fuck out. I'm just saying, like Ian Gary's shown us he's not that good. He's not the world's best striker at all. He doesn't have great wrestling, even though he's been showing he's getting better with his jujitsu because he's been training with Charles Oliveira and those guys. It's just, and then you're really talking way too much shit in the sense that I'm more Brazilian than this guy. Like when you bring things like that up, you're asking for way more than you should be letting on to. I'm worried for this kid. But at the same time, he can really make this boring shit. If this grappling does work out for him, he's just going to try to hold on for dear life. He's not, I don't think Gary's getting a finish in any way, shape, or form. If he can get Carlos to the ground, though, and keep him to the ground, it's going to be a slog and a bad way to finish the night. That's how I'm looking at the end of the night. I'm so worried about that potential possibility. Just Anthony Smith getting starched and then fucking seeing Ian Gary just hold on to Carlos Prates for 25 minutes and do absolutely no damage to him at all. But well, we're hoping Carlos is going to do it, man. We're going to get the contender on here. We're going to get the fun shit because we need the fun shit. David Onama. He's a contender for sure. I'm not going to throw Giga in here because I feel like he's the one that can make that fight boring, similarly to Ian Gary. His best bet is probably work his kicks because he does have the little bit of range, and Giga is really good with his fucking kicks. Um, but David Onama, another Missouri dude, he's got a chance to work into the rankings here finally. This is a huge moment. I think David's biggest weakness has always been his cardio. If he's been really working in the gym, then he's got this fight. Like, there's no reason in hell he shouldn't win this fight. We talked before we started as well. He's got Cub Swanson in that fucking corner, man. He's been working with the right people, so hopefully he's been getting his ass in fucking gear because this is it. This is the opportunity, kid. This is the shit or get off the pot moment. You got your chance to get in the rankings now, and I love rooting for our Missouri guys, and I want to see more of them get to this point. So I hope David Onama makes the fucking most of this moment because he wins. He's a true contender here. And I've been saying it for a minute anyways. Even with that weakness, he's still got a lot of fucking potential. You gotta make the most of it though. It's that hard work. It's the biggest thing. So looking forward to seeing how he does. You got Malcolm Wellmaker. Really looking forward to that kid. Excited to see. He's a hard fucking worker for sure. That kid is doing blue collar work. Like he's doing construction work as a real life job to make himself some money to keep himself going and take care of himself and his fucking family. But he's then going and training constantly too, trying to keep this UFC dream alive. The kid's actual story is fucking great, and he's one of those kids you want to root for. He's pretty fucking good. He had a nice, slick knockout on the Contender Series. One of the few that I was actually really excited to make their debut off the Contender Series last year. We had a lot of people get contracts that just really weren't that exciting last year. This is one of them that was exciting. I'm glad he's finally making the debut. Took a fucking minute, but he's getting a fun one too. And Cameron Saman, being Zhang, I got to be honest. I had mentioned, I feel like I know how that one's going to go. As much as I want Anthony to win, I don't think it's going to go that way or shake out that way. Zhang knocks Anthony out. That is a decent name to put under his belt. He's 26 years old. He's on a hell of a fucking winning streak. He's got a lot of knockouts. UFC's going to climb him up. Like heavyweight division is very slim, so it's no different than heavyweight. The kid will be an immediate contender, even if Anthony's not really ranked anymore, deserving of being ranked, and this is his retirement fight, whether the kid beats him or not. But kid's still going to kind of build off of Anthony's name a little bit. I think Ikram Askarov has a chance to be a contender. He hasn't shown us a lot since he got to the UFC. I mean, obviously, they threw him to the fucking wolf, literally Wolf himself and Robert Whitaker. Those are his only losses in his career, Hamzat and Rob. But the UFC seems to like him. They keep giving him opportunities. Andre Muniz is another decent opportunity because then he'll get a ranked fighter if he gets this win. We'll see how he does. If he gets a knockout, especially, you throw him in that spot. You can still consider him a contender, but he's got some proving to do. Jacqueline Morium, she is one of those young ladies. I definitely feel like I can say she's a contender. She won 3 in a row since losing her debut to Sam Hughes, and Sam Hughes is a tough, tough lady. That is not an easy girl to get a win against. So, winning her last few, getting some finishes, showing some serious potential in my opinion. Like all of her wins come by finish, so it's really fun. She's mainly a grappler. She got that submission game, but I'm excited to see what she does. She's gonna probably have a showcase kind of weekend here against Polyana Viana. This is gonna be an easy one. One of the last ones I got. I got the last fight here. I'll finish it off with my favorite. Damone Blackshear, though, I got to give some credit. The kid just fought last fucking month, had himself a real slick submission against Cody Gibson. He's shown some serious potential. He's had a couple of rough moments since he's got in the UFC, but he's shown some serious potential. They gave him that chance to already get close to the rankings against Montel Jackson. Montel Jackson pretty goddamn good though. I still feel like Damone Blackshear is as well pretty fucking good. He's just not as well rounded as Montel. I think Damone is just really good with his ground game. He's a hell of a fucking grappler. I think he's fighting Alaton Haley this week. It is another showcase moment. Short transition here, like 1 month in between fights. It's good for him. Continue to stay active like that. You work your way back up towards that contendership and getting another crack at somebody near the rankings. So finish it off with KC Boys. My favorite fight on the weekend now. Since Creepo got put behind bars where he deserved, the fact that that situation was going on, motherfucker damn sure doesn't deserve to be making any sort of money to be fighting on national television in the UFC. So we're glad that situation worked out the way that it did, even though that was not great news. But we got some good news out of it because another fucking local guy from Missouri gets to throw down against another Missouri guy on the Kansas City card. Two of them, they're both young as shit. Gage Young in his early 20s, Evan Elder 27. Evan Elder, in my opinion, was winning that fight he had the other year against Nazim Sadikov, another young prospect coming up in that lightweight division. If it wasn't for the cut and doctor stoppage, he wouldn't have got a loss on his record. He'd be 3-1 in the UFC. This will be Gage Young's actual debut. He had a tough fight against, I think it was Quillen Salkild on the Contender Series. He took that kid to decision. That was a fun fucking fight. It was close. Dana even said he liked the kid, and then he's bringing him back like short notice shit. So now you're getting your debut. And Salkild in his debut starched the motherfucker they gave him. So it definitely makes Gage look a hell of a lot better. The kid's really young. He's got a lot of talent and potential. I mean, this is a huge moment opportunity. It's short notice. It's never the greatest thing in the world. Evan's been training for the fight, even though he was short notice a little bit himself. He had more time, because it was originally supposed to be Mitch Ramirez He pulls out, then Evan Elder hops in against the Hassan Zada guy, and then he gets yanked out. So now Gage Young gets his opportunity. Just good shit. Both of them are well rounded. They can grapple. Both of them can stand and bang. Both of them are in front of a home crowd that's going to be loud as shit. Kansas City's always exciting as fuck. It's going to be a fun fight. I got it. I do my bet on blood with Vinny every week on our podcast. I got it as, the bloodiest. Like that and the old Nama fight with Giga, those could be bloodbaths, and I'm here for that shit. Just like Carlos Prates might draw some serious blood against an Irishman this weekend. That'd be a good time too. That's all I got. You got anything on it for your cans and contenders before you hop into telling us about the betting odds for the brother TJ in his absence? Like to
So
hear it.
there's a couple here. Um, I'm I'm curious if someone told Dana that Jocelyn's from Kansas City. Because she fought last time in Kansas City and she's fighting again in Kansas City, and it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Um, that I've got to say that as the opening fight on the card, when she opened the card in Kansas City last time as well, and that fight was fucking horrible. I I don't know, man. I'm curious if Dana's actually even going to be in Kansas City this time, because he was last time, but we laughed because half the time that he was there, he was literally sitting and looking at his phone or talking to the people next to him. He didn't watch even half the goddamn fights while he was there.
He's
So
gonna be
I
there.
don't know.
He
Is he going to be
posted on
there?
his story. Yeah, he posted on his story earlier this morning that he's flying out to Kansas City for the weigh-ins.
Gotcha. Well, we'll see. Um, I've got to say, I'm a little disappointed, honestly. It's not a bad card overall by any stretch of the imagination. But we talk about it all the time. When the UFC leaves Las Vegas and they go on the road, generally speaking, they load those fucking cards with local talent. We have 4 dudes from Missouri on this card, and one of them was literally a last minute replacement yesterday. Kind of feels like we're getting skimped out here, but that being said, it's still pretty decent overall. Um, I like that they brought Gage Young in to take on Evan Elder. I'm a little sad that they're doing Missouri on Missouri. I wish they could have switched something else around, but short notice, I get it. Not a lot they could do with it. Excuse me. Um, I am curious how the Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz fight is going to go. Like you said, Ikram's only 2 losses have been against literal fucking world beaters, and they weren't flat out fucking ass whoopings either. He was in both of those fucking fights until he fucking wasn't. Um, Andre Muniz is not quite the same type of fighter, in my opinion. They both have very good jiu-jitsu, very good ground games, but Ikram is a lot more aggressive, in my opinion, in his offense. Andre Muniz almost plays more defensive jiu-jitsu and tries to let you come into his guard before he starts to do work. And I'm curious how that's going to play out here, because Ikram knows both sides of the jiu-jitsu game. So he knows the mistakes not to make, and he also knows how to use his Muniz's style against him in this situation, more so than I feel that Andre does. I feel like he's a little bit more well-rounded, even though he's had a couple of rough fucking outings. We talked about who those outings were against and why they were rough. So I'm curious to see how this one plays out. If it stays on the feet, it could be very fucking boring, because this is 2 jujitsu guys going against each other. So if they decide that they're going to pretend to be strikers, this one could suck. If they actually get to it and they throw their fucking jujitsu game against each other, I think that's where this one's going to be a little more interesting, because the style of jujitsu that they both have are very different. So I think I don't know. There's a lot to be had in the what if department for that match. Um, I like Nicholas Dalby, but at this point in his career, I like his tattoos more than I like his fighting ability. Randy Brown's not a world breaker by any stretch of the imagination. He's a very capable individual. He's very well rounded. But at this point, I think you're 100% right. I think this is one of those showcase fights where they're like, Randy, if you do something here, this momentum will carry. But on the other side of that, if Dalby can fucking wrap you up and hang on to you for 15 minutes, you're not going to get any more exciting fights anytime soon. Dalby is on the back nine of his career. It hasn't been the most exciting career, but he's had some pretty good fucking moments. But he's still on the back nine of his career. He's not going to be doing this much longer. So if Randy Brown loses to Nicholas Dalby, I feel like that's worse for him than it will be good for Dalby for winning. I don't understand Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. I don't know why this fight needs to be made. I sure the fuck don't understand why this card is A, on the main card, or this fight is on the main card, and B, is in Kansas City. Like, I will say there's a bit of irony because when we saw the fights in Kansas City 2 years ago, we laughed because Michel Pereira was walking around the inside of T-Mobile Arena, or the T-Mobile Center rather, doing autographs and taking pictures and was not on that fight card. He was there literally just to get himself attention last time. Now he's back and he's on the card, and I don't want to give him any more attention this time than I did last time when we walked right the fuck past him. Like, this fight doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't really have much potential to even be fun. Abus is not an aggressive fighter, and Michel's flashy, flippy bullshit generally only works well against someone who's either going to A, try to stop it, or B, to try to walk through it. Abus is not going to do either one of those things. Abus is going to spend more of this fight backing up than anything else, I'm willing to bet. Because he's not going to engage with or try and counter any of Michel's crazy, spinny, jumpy, fucking flashy bullshit that he does. Which is also why the vast majority of MMA fans hate Michel Pereira. Because as much as it sucks to say, I'm going to say it. If he would stop with his flashy shit and just focus on actual fighting, he could probably realistically be a top contender very fucking quickly at 185. Very quickly. But it's like he's allergic to actually just fighting. The second things start to go well, he's got to do some kind of stupid fucking dance, or he's got to try and do a fucking backflip, or he's going to do 3 fucking spins in a row where the guy just steps back and watches him do it because it's dumb. Like, Michel doesn't understand how to showboat after a win. It's like as soon as he gets the momentum tipping slightly in his favor in any fight, he gets dumb and flashy with it, and it's fucking infuriating. I don't think Abus Magomedov is any kind of a fucking finisher by any stretch of the imagination. But what I'm hoping in my black little fucking heart of hearts is that Michel tries some stupid flashy shit and Abus cocks all the way back to fucking Germany and unloads on that fucking moron and knocks him the fuck out so we can be done with this shit for at least a little while. Fucking, oh my God, he bothered me. That being said, I am very surprised that Giga missed weight today. I'm starting to wonder, it's not Giga's ability that makes me doubt him at this point. It's his commitment. Because we've seen what Giga Chikadze is capable of. When he shows up and he is fucking on, he is one of the most dangerous motherfuckers to step into that UFC at 145 pounds. End of sentence. But we've also seen a lot more lately when Giga shows up, and we've talked about it time and time again. He's fighting not to lose instead of fighting to win. And that makes a very big difference. And that's one of those habits that when fighters start to develop it, it's hard for them to shake it. And if they can't shake it, that's the end of the fucking road. If you can't figure out how to get out of third gear and back into second and get some fucking momentum going, you might as well just put it in neutral because you're coasting to the end at this point. I'm worried we might be seeing Giga coasting to the end at this point. And against a guy like David Onama, he's not a world breaker. He's still young in the game, but David Onama is very well-rounded and he's very capable. Like Christian mentioned, he's been training with Cub fucking Swanson, which is the right thing to do if you want to progress from entry level to actual fucking, considerate professional fighter. If Onama's been dotting his I's and crossing his fucking T's here, Giga could be in for a lot of fucking trouble because Onama's a very fucking capable dude. And if Giga's starting to slack off and he's starting to lose that hunger, this is a bad place to face a local dude because Onama's a Kansas City boy in Kansas City with all the crowd hype that's going to be coming in for him. Giga's going to have to mentally fight through that, and he's going to have to bring himself in. He's going to have to grab his fucking bootstraps and pull with 2 fucking hands because this ain't one that he can half-ass through. You can't co-pilot through this fucking fight, or autopilot, rather. Like, you've got to be in and present, and you've got to be fucking conscious. And if he lets his fucking IQ lapse in that match, Onama's going to put him to fucking sleep. I'm very curious how that one shakes loose. The co-main and main event, though, honestly, are two of the biggest reasons for me that I'm not sitting in Kansas City right now. Because I checked yesterday, ticket prices are similar to what they were 2 years ago when we went. But I'm not going to do all that driving. I'm not going to spend all that money and spend all that time away from my home and my family to watch Anthony Smith retire after he gets knocked the fuck out by Zhang, or Ian Machado Gary try and hold Carlos Prates against the fence for 25 minutes. Like, I've never had anything against Anthony Smith, but he should have retired 5 years ago, easily. When the home invader broke into his house, that should have been his sign. I'm spending too much time away from home, in my honest opinion. That should have been his cue. I can go do desk gigs. I can still coach. I can still train, but I'm spending too much time away and I'm not getting the results I need to. I should probably just call it quits. And since then, we have seen nothing essentially but Anthony Smith get battered and smacked around and choked the fuck around until they're almost essentially forcing his hand to quit at this point. And if you needed more proof that the UFC isn't giving him his Dustin Poirier BMF right off into the sunset kind of retirement fight, Zhang is on an 8-fight knockout run right now. This kid is a monster. Like Christian mentioned, even his losses don't go outside of the first fucking round. This dude is a giant Chinese with your shield or on it motherfucker. They're not giving Anthony Smith any favors in what they know to be for a fact his retirement fight. They're sending him a new fucking killer to good luck get past. And I don't think he can at this point. Anthony Smith is very well rounded as well, but you want to talk about the definition of having one foot out the fucking door. That's been Anthony Smith since 2021. Easily. I don't think it's going to be a great fight. I think Anthony's going to come out hoping he can put on a good performance. And I think the first time he takes a big clip from Zhang, you're going to watch that look on Anthony Smith's face change. And we've seen it in fights before. When he knows he's fucked, but he can't quit, he gets the look. And I think Zhang's going to touch him once, and we're going to see that look pop out. And I think Smith is going to get retired by getting knocked the fuck out in Kansas City. And I don't think it's going to be fun. I think you're dead on the nuts in the main event as well. I think Ian Machado Gary knows he's outclassed. I think that's why he's been talking so much shit for this last week and a half or so. Carlos pointed it out perfectly. Ian's running his mouth, and I'm in the gym. The funniest part about this is, not to be negative about it, but I don't even think that Carlos Prates is the best guy in the Fighting Nerds. I think he's easily top 5, but I don't think he is even close to the best that the Fighting Nerds had to offer. I think compared to Ian Machado Gary, though, he's a big problem. Machado has endurance. I'll give him that. He has endurance. He's tough. But he's not that exciting, and he never really has been. He had a couple of lucky moments that got him some big highlights. But they've been just that, those couple few and far between moments. Every time Carlos Prates steps in a fucking cage, he's one of those, and I didn't know it at first because he was still young, but we've pretty much confirmed it at this point. He's one of those fighters. He's allergic to boring fights. He breaks out fucking punches. He can't have a boring fight. So I think even if, and I do think he's going to, I think if Ian tries to make this a boring fight and try and grind on him and hold on him, I still think Prates is well-rounded enough. I think he's going to fucking hurt Ian Machado Gary. And I think he needs it. I think Ian's ego is bigger than ever. And I'm going to be surprised if he can fit it through the doorway walking into that arena. But I think Carlos is going to take a little fucking pin and take some of the air out of that goddamn balloon. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know that it's going to be as exciting because Ian just doesn't really know how to be that exciting at this point. But I think the main event is going to be a good fight, but not the most exciting fight on the card. I didn't think about it initially, but the more I've thought about it, I think you're 100% right on the money here. I think the only clear-cut Schrodinger's contender that we can put on this card is above and beyond the one that deserves it, and that is Matt Schnell versus Jimmy the Brick Flick. These two dudes both have the potential to trip over a fucking cord and not make it to the cage altogether. Or get in there and go Arkansas ape shit for 15 fucking minutes, beating the snot out of each other in the most exciting fight we might see all fucking year. Like, this is that it could go either fucking way kind of matchup for me. And I like both of these fucking dudes. So I'm not rooting for either one because I know they both have potential to shit or get shit on here. So I think you're right on the fucking money. I think this is the clear Schrodinger's contender for this card, because if it's boring, something's wrong with the whole card. Like, even if neither one of these dudes show up, the other one should more than compensate to make this fight fun as shit, in my opinion. So that's the one for folks to watch, in my eyes.
Hell yeah. Like you were mentioning, they did miss out in my eyes. I was thinking about it after you mentioned that. Like, this being the Kansas City card, like they just announced it today. Buckley and Usman. That would have been amazing to have on this card. Buckley's from St. Louis. A couple weeks ago on the 314, you had fucking Sean Woodson, another kid from St. Louis, fighting Dan Ige, even though that didn't go his way. Like, missed opportunity. Just wait 2 weeks. Boom. We could have had that there. It's rough.
Yep.
They miss out on
Yeah,
a
and
lot
it
of
feels like
shit
it's been the
that
only
way
card
too
so far
often.
this year where they went somewhere. Huh? Go ahead, my bad.
No, I just say that they do that way too often. Like, especially this year, they go to these fucking local fight nights, and just too many missed opportunities. Especially like I said with Deshaun Woodson, like 2 weeks difference, and dude from
Right.
St. Louis isn't on the Kansas City card. Confusing
Yeah.
shit.
I think this is the worst of the year in terms of like local talent on a road card. I think everywhere they've gone this year has had more than 4 local fucking fighters on it. What you can do?
At least we still get a fun fucking card.
Very true. Very true.
Won't be bad. That's it for me. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. So that being said, that'll bring us to the point where normally we'd have Golf T talking all kinds of shit, but he's not here this evening because life happens. So instead, first we're going to go over the finals of our Q1 Grand Prix. Damn close, all the way to the end. After the final all said and done tally, Don won the whole damn thing. 54 out of 83 correct picks, 3,450 points. Well done, sir. Christian held on to second place, 3,305 points, 48 out of 83. I was just behind Christian, 3,120 with 46 out of 83. Donna set the middle of the pack, 3,105 with 47. Golf T just behind Donna, 48 of 83, but he missed a bunch of perfects, so he only had 3,060 points. Benny right behind Golf T, 28-15 with 44 of 83. And that means inevitably Lucas was the one this time around to step on his dick. He missed that whole set of picks and it ended up costing him. He only ended up turning in a total of 71 picks overall. Still got 44 correct. 44 out of 71. Same number correct as Vinny did, but because he missed out on a literal 12 set of picks, it put him down to 27.91. 25 points at the end of the day separated Lucas with a whole set of missed picks. So well done by everyone who entered here. There will be a couple more weeks here before we get the next tournament up and going here, because UFC still got a bunch of announcing to do and a bunch that they have done this week as well. So schedules have to get updated, but we will have the next tournament coming through very shortly from now. So to introduce that section properly, the only disclaimer that does come on the show, if you will. Tapology.com in no way, shape, or form supports, sponsors, or endorses the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology does give you the option to go onto their site, make yourself a free account, and make fantasy style MMA picks like we do here on the show. We even made a group on there. It's called I'm No Bookie, all one word, or Group 965. However, you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcome and encouraged. Make yourself an account, join the group, and then let us know who the hell you are so we can hold your picks accountable with our picks in this little segment here. That being said, moving on ahead to this week. No recap. We know that, but we've got some interesting odds for this week. Christian mentioned it earlier. The biggest odds on the entire card this week are from the ladies' fight. That's right. They're from the ladies' fight. Polyana Viana versus Jacqueline Amarin. Polyana Viana is the plus 500 underdog. Jacqueline Amarin, the minus 700 favorite here. We talked about it a little bit before the show. That's kind of how we thought the fight was going to go as well, but I don't know if I think it's that big of a gap in odds. Probably going to go that way for sure. To the surprise of probably no one, the vast majority of the fights on this card are a coin flip. Most of them are under 200 and over 200. Some of them are even less than that. One of the closest set of odds on the card, Christian's favorite fight he's looking forward to, Cameron Saman as a plus 110 slight underdog, Malcolm Wellmaker as a minus 130 slight favorite here. Even Vegas isn't 100% sure who to pick on that one here. Now, the second biggest odds here, though, we mentioned a little bit earlier here, shouldn't really surprise anyone. Alatong Haley is a plus 385 underdog here against Damon Blackshear coming in as a minus 500 favorite. I don't know that we're going to get a sub out of this match, but I think there's a pretty damn good chance. Kind of how I mentioned that I thought it was going to go as well. Another big one here, Andre Muniz, plus 350 underdog against Ikram Aliskerov coming in at a minus 450 favorite. I think that one's right on the money as well. Not a lot of money to be made in a lot of these fights, but at least the odds seem to be pretty right on it here. Giga Chikadze, plus 165 underdog against David Onama as a minus 190 favorite. Not big odds, but even Vegas sees this in the favor of Onama here. And then the co-main event, Anthony Smith in his retirement fight comes in as of right now at a plus 295 underdog against Zhang Mingyang as a minus 370 favorite. Money line on that main event is kind of coin flippy here, and I'm a little surprised to see it's this close. As of right now, I'm showing Ian Machado Gary as a minus 150 favorite against Carlos Prates as a plus 130 underdog here. I would probably be inclined to flip those odds around, but the fact that they're still that close, less than 24 is out from the fight, says quite a bit in my opinion here. Because I'm sure someone is going to be interested, I am pulling these odds directly from betonline.ag because that was the easiest one for me to find today. And they had odds for every fight. Not every booking site had had odds for every fight on this card. TJ mentioned that a couple weeks ago. He's been seeing a lot of those do that as well. So a little weird, but betonline.ag is where we are pulling these from here. So we are going to call that odds. There we go. All right. There is a little bit of money to be made if you're going to do a lot of parlaying. From what I have seen, the folks who are better at, or more knowledgeable, I should say, at betting on these parlays and the multi-leggers are pretty much all saying none of these fights really look like solid bets to throw a whole lot of money down outside, obviously, the co-main event and Anthony Smith, and that, unfortunately, is pretty much only clear to throw money against him. But there's plenty of betting action out there if that's what you are interested in. That is what we've got in terms of bet, though. So that, in turn, is also what we've got for this particular episode. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We do this generally On Thursdays, before there is an upcoming fight week, we do them live here on YouTube at youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe. Over the course of the weekend, I also put out shorts for the finishes on the biggest fights, the most important fights that I can get a chance to, depending on what organization that fight is from. It might just be them as a still background behind me. I might even be able to show you some of the action, but keep your eyes peeled to youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe over on that shorts tab for all your fight results through the course of the weekend. That being said, when we wrap things up around here, that is not the end of the fun, because as he mentioned this morning, that gentleman and his other half dropped their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over there on Spreaker.com. You can catch the links to their podcast as well as their social media links and the link to their channel over on the I'm No Joe Discord server, all down below as well. Go check them out and tell them how good they're doing.
Appreciate you, brother. Fun never fucking stops for us. Every fucking Wednesday, you gotta tune into the Foggy Fairway on the Brother Golf T Vapes YouTube channel. Exactly that, Golf T Vapes YouTube. If you're into the vapes like the brothers are, you tune in for some fun times, some recipes, fun mixes, some tips, tricks, all that good shit. You gotta make sure you show the brothers some love. All that shit should be in the description, even if he wasn't here tonight. Gotta still show him some love. And then, of course, the meter does a hell of a lot more than just host this wonderful podcast. The Brother Meter does many, many fucking things. And if you enjoy this podcast, you got to check out all the other shit the Meter does, man. So check out every last little bit of his stuff as well. Show the brothers some love.
Much appreciated, sir. Yeah, all the links to all of the shenanigans that all of us get up to are all down in the description below. If you like what we are getting up to around here, please make sure you are subscribed no matter where you are picking this up, because even though we do it live here on YouTube on Thursdays, the week after we go live, the all audio version gets posted up to anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe. And from there, you can pick it up in your podcast consumption platform of choice. Google, Spotify, Apple, you name it. They are all there, free to pick up through the audio version as well. If you really like what we get up to around here, the best way to help us do what we do is patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, as much as you are comfortable giving, you help us do what we do around here. And first and foremost, for being that awesome, we make sure at the end of every broadcast, your name gets put to tell everyone how much of an awesome patron you are, helping us do what we do. But that is not the only benefit. In terms of benefits, I think you get the greatest, because in terms of helping us, we help you by giving you unrestricted access to all of the behind the scenes, unaired and unairable things that happen around the I'm No Joe podcast in exchange for helping us financially. So if that's something you are interested in, links to that are down below as well. But if you like what we get up to, please make sure you're subscribed and your notifications are turned on wherever you are picking this up so you don't miss an episode. The opposite side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast that you didn't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That said, that is the end of what we have got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made